my slave owners anyway. Yeah, I'm just gonna jump straight into it because I don't have like an opening gambit as a comedian, which really frustrates me sometimes. I've been going for a while, but I don't have like an opening hook to like make people pay attention, which really annoys me. I feel like you really need to have a USP in comedy. You need something to make you sound, unique, sexy, mysterious, unpredictable, dangerous. A little less. I failed my theory test 3 times. A little more. The state doesn't want me to drive. Because I'm not like, because that's the thing, I don't really know the hook about my act. I'm not really particularly good for current affairs stuff in my comedy either. Like, for example, do you remember that whole thing a couple of months ago with the England flags? Everyone was hanging the England flags everywhere, the side of the roads, like, the far right protests, right? I don't really have a good take on that, because growing up, the council estate I grew up on was like proper, hostile, racist, EDL white people anyway. So they were always putting flags up anyway. So I didn't even notice the difference. I couldn't reliably tell you whether we're backsliding into fascism or if the weather was just kind of nice out for September. Because that's the thing. I can't give you like a struggle story either, innit? Because I grew up poor, but not the kind of poor that makes you interesting. If you don't, there's a lot of international students here. If you don't know, like council estates, like public housing, right? There's 2 types of council estates in UK. There's drug dealer estates and there's drug addict estates. We want an addict estate. We were the people who sold drugs too. So I never learned any of like the typical street smarts associated with growing up in a council estate. I never learned how to, park backwards so you can leave places quicker, or how to flip £20 into £1,000 in one weekend. But I have this remarkable ability of being able to look at any shit on a street corner and be like, oh yeah, that's a human one. That's the only thing I love, being poor from where I grew up. Because I guess, I think about age a lot. I've been thinking about age a lot. I think, it's because I'm a mature student or whatever. So I turned 27 on the weekend. I heard a gasp in there. I'm like, why is that? Oh yes, I'm from the 20th century. I turned 27 on the weekend, right? And I'm the only one of my black friends who hasn't been profiled by the police yet, and it's starting to feel a little personal. And because, it's going to sound very conservative of me to say, but I believe that, because I've been doing this comedy thing for a while, I believe that if you really want to be good at art, you have to have gone through something, you have to go through some, adversity. I'm thinking to myself, where's that going to come from for me? Where's that going to come from for my kids? It's like, so I'm planning on being an absent father on purpose. To give my kids the motivation they need to make it to the NBA. Because think of any like non-Nepo baby celebrity, their dad was either like not in the picture at all, or like a Joe Jackson mega tyrant. I feel like I only have the capacity to love my child the normal, healthy amount, which of course will doom them to being ordinary. I don't think I have multiple Grammy love in me. I've maybe got like head of regional marketing love in me. Because I think about age a lot, right? I do a lot of gigs. I do a lot of gigs with a bunch of different people and like a bunch of different ages and stuff. And it's like there's this thing that comedians at my age and older do. I think it's really cool to like talk down on Gen Z and stuff. And I don't really like joining in on that because I think they're a very misunderstood generation. But one criticism I do have of Gen Z is that they're like I say that like I'm not like one of them. Because I remember VHSs. Because I think it's like one thing about Gen Z is that they're very morally absolutist. Like they always want to like throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's not an understanding that people can be morally grey. Good people do bad things all the time. It's like how are you going to take 2 people? How are you going to take the multiplicities of one person at one time? Good people do bad things all the time. Martin Luther King cheated on his wife. Kate Bush was a Tory. I think I've learned to handle the moral greyness of people because my dad raised me on a lot of Motown music, so I grew up listening to Motown, and then I get older and listen to the Beatles and stuff, and listening to that kind of old music. What makes you, and then you look at Wikipedia's the people who made the music, what that makes you realize is, up until like the year 2000, every single male musician was like a terrible person. And it's like, yeah, every single one, every musician that you liked from before, they either like, you know, they hit their first wife, or they threw a manager down the stairs, or they got a 14-year-old a little bit pregnant. Like, it's like, you know, we all have skeletons somewhere, you know. Also, like, again, because, you know, I think my age, because I turned 27 recently, it's like, you're too old to be doing certain shit at 27. Like last year in the summer, I came out to some of my friends as bi, right? And stop it, pathetic, don't do that. Because it was easy for me. I was dating a woman then, I'm dating a woman now. I didn't have to change or risk anything about my life, and I get all the diversity gigs. It's great, it's great. I actually recommend coming out as bi for attention. If you weren't already doing it all the time. But the thing about that is, because I always knew, but I never like confronted it later in my, I never confronted it until later in my life. So it's like, you know, I never like learned my queer, like fine motor skills, innit? So it all comes out really clunky and awkward, like, because I missed my growing period. So it's like, when I use gay slang, I sound like an undercover cop trying to infiltrate the I use the word read in front of my niece and she's like, check me for a wire. Because like, you know, you go up and it's like, I realize, and I look in the mirror every day and I realize I'm resembling my father more and more and more. It's like, I start to look like my father more and I have these mannerisms, and it's like, we have the same interests as well, like we have the same tastes as well, like, you know, strong peanut butter, really strong mints, beating our children with electrical wires. It's, you know, do you know what? What was it? If I've got time, I think, what am I going to tell you? Yeah, I'm really interested in like language. I'm really interested in how people use language and how they change how they talk when they want to interact with different people. I find that really interesting. A good example of this, right? The last time I went to Ghana, where I'm from, where my family is from, you got any Ghanaians in? No, fine, okay. Yeah, last time I went to Ghana, where I'm from, where my family's from, we took a tour of Cape Coast Castle, which is, you know, the castle by the sea, built by the Portuguese, where all the kidnapped slaves were held and counted before they were shipped off to the Americas. It's a very, very depressing place to go. And this one woman brought her white American boyfriend, and he spent the whole tour making these disapproving noises to show the rest of us that he really wasn't okay with this whole slavery thing. Like every time the tour guide would tell us a depressing fact, you'd hear a voice in the back going, "Oh fuck, baby, I'm so sorry." And it was really weird to me. Like, it shocked me. It's such a fundamentally just an odd interaction. Like, why do you need to do that? Like, and I still think about it all the time. I took that trip when I was 16. That was more than 10 years ago. I still think about them all the time. You know, where are they now? Are they still together? Did they propose like this? That's my time. Thank you. You've been on that. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Kwesi, everybody! I hate to admit when KCL is good, but that was pretty fucking good. That was pretty good. So right now, we're gonna have a brief intermission. But before that, I have a few announcements to make. First of all, we have a beer pong table set up there. Second of all, we have got a breathalyzer. So whoever can ask Kat, where are you? She's gonna have a breathalyzer, everyone. Whoever can get the right number gets a free drink. And
what's the right number?
Ask her for it. And during our intermission, we're gonna welcome our wonderful performers from UCL's Drag Society.